what if we just accepted that and anticipated it as just a part of a grander journey? And maybe along the way, we could appreciate every stumble, every learning opportunity for what it really is. Hello, and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day. Today, I challenge you with this Tao expression. The journey is the reward. I know. I've heard this before in the past and heard the saying, there's a popular one that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I hear you. I was irritated every time I heard that as well. And I want us to challenge this concept today because I want us to try to understand what is it about having big goals, having enormous dreams, chasing those dreams, finding those dreams, achieving those dreams, and then not feeling the reward of it. And are we losing sight of the whole point? This is such a big concept in business and with all of my clients who are high achievers. We chase these lofty dreams. We put in so much effort and time and blood, sweat, and tears along the way. And sometimes the reward at the end is slightly lackluster. It's a little bit of a defeat, if you will. You get this feeling like, really, is this all there is? I've noticed this in so many arenas of life, and I would love to just discuss this with you today because if you've been feeling that way, you are not alone. There was a great documentary that I saw on an airplane. I was flying somewhere to speak at a conference, and it was within the past 6 months. And the documentary was about Olympic athletes who had achieved the best. And really, they were talking about mental health awareness of Olympians and bringing more awareness to the struggles that Olympians have. And a similar pattern was being recognized in these incredible athletes who dedicate their lives in pursuit of this achievement, not only getting to the Olympics and really standing out in their field, in their sport as an elite athlete, but then winning bronze, silver, or gold in the world, achieving the pinnacle of their success, and then feeling this enormous depression and letdown subsequent to the achievement. I think all of us experience this to a certain extent in our lives. And that disappointment, what it does is it forces you to then lift another goal. And you start getting to this habit of achievement stacking, chasing after the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. This is most certainly true in my life, my professional life and my personal life, my health of my own body life. And it's interesting how we keep falling prey to this cycle of punishing ourselves, pushing ourselves in pursuit of some goal, achieving that goal, and being either disappointed or having it feel like a little bit of a letdown, and then not knowing how to pursue from there. Almost like in chasing that pursuit, we've forgotten how to live, how to love, and how to find happiness. What I want to throw out there today is, what if there is no final destination? What if the final destination that you have in your mind is just a star towards which you're hoping to travel? But really, it is all about the journey. What if recognizing that within the pursuit of that dream is the uncovering of all the beauty and the magic and the learning and the growth? What if we didn't set our sights so intently on the achievement of that goal? What if we didn't hang all our hopes and our happiness on the achievement of that goal, but understood that just by having that goal, it gives us a directional compass? I think goals are so critical. I think it's an absolute necessity to know which direction you're going in. If we don't have an idea of where we're going, well, then it doesn't matter where we go. we're going to get there real fast because we have no destination. So having a destination is imperative, having something you're working towards, having something you're dreaming of. That's the human nature, to have a dream and a purpose and a passion and a pursuit. It feels so good to have something to work towards, to dream of, and to find our path towards. But what if we recognized that that's all it is? It's just a directional compass. It's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is rather the day-to-day pursuit of it. So I'll give you an example in my own life, in my own professional life. There was a time when I was much younger, when I was dreaming of achieving and receiving the certification of Doctor of Medical Dentistry, my DMD. And that took me 4 years of grueling dental school. Those of you who have been through it know and remember it well. But it was really 4 of the toughest years of my life. And then I had more tough years beyond that. But up until that point, that was definitely true. And these were not just 4 years, but these were 4 years that came after really 16 years of education. So this was a pursuit that took me 20 years to achieve. And receiving that DMD, receiving that certification, being granted permission to be a dentist, did not end my pursuit. It did not give me anything greater than all the education and the expertise I had learned along the way. It was just a ribbon at the end of the race. It was just a awareness of what I had been doing all along the way. But that actual certificate really was just permission to keep going. Permission to keep going along that journey. And really what it did was it started me on the trajectory of a new journey. But it wasn't like at the end of that achievement, I suddenly had accomplished everything and now I was whole and complete. But man, did I feel that way. And I think maybe that's where we get lost in achievement. We prevent ourselves from feeling whole. We think, I am not complete without this thing. I'm heading in this direction and I will not be complete. I will not be happy until I have this final thing. I mean, how many times have you heard yourself say that? I'll be happy when I have that house. I'll be happy when I move there. I will be happy when I finally get married. I will be happy when I finally have children. And we put so much attention and expectation on that achievement to give us everything we feel we're missing along the way. But the gold, the nuggets of wisdom and the growth happens in the journey. What if we could acknowledge those steps along the way? What if we could acknowledge our wholeness before we get there? That DMD did not make me whole. No way. I was whole every step of the way to achieve that certification. I did the same thing when I was running a marathon. Training for that marathon, the only thing I had in mind was the actual marathon. Running the marathon for me was, it was magical. I highly recommend it to anybody. That day was spectacular. There's something about exerting your body's potential over hours and hours and hours. I mean, the endorphin rush, the crowds, it was a gorgeous day. I mean, it was just a wonderful experience. But in no way did that one day reflect all the growth and learning that I had done over my training for that marathon. That one day didn't hold a candle to the days when I wasn't feeling great and had to get up and run for 4 hours. It didn't hold a candle to the training outside of running that I was doing for strength training to get my body ready. It didn't hold a candle to the nutritional learning that I had invested in and accumulated along the way. It didn't hold a candle to the dream of the pursuit before I even started. I was whole before I even started that journey, but I didn't allow myself to see it. I kept feeling incomplete until I got to that point. And then I thought, wow, then I'll really be an athlete. I'll be an athlete when I run a marathon. Well, it didn't matter. That day didn't change a thing in my mind. I felt the same way. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't get into business to be miserable. The problem is that people feel that if their business gets busier, if they start becoming more successful, that happiness will eventually set in. But it can actually get worse. This is why I created the Business of Happiness Prosperity Coaching. In this one-on-one coaching, we look at how to redefine success on your terms and re-find the joy and the passion in your dream. Visit me at thebizofhappiness.com and become the happiest business owner you know. But what if all along the way we kept reminding ourselves of how we are enough before we even get to that goal? Just having the dream makes us enough. Just getting up in the morning and running makes us enough of an athlete. It doesn't have to accumulate into a marathon, although the marathon is such a precious part of it. And I think that's another very important point is the destination, the goal, the achievement, the ribbon, the certification isn't negated. It doesn't mean it's not important. It's hugely valuable. It's a part of the journey. It doesn't mean it's the most important part, but it definitely doesn't negate its purpose. It has a very, very precious purpose. It gives us a direction, but it is just a part of the journey. And if we hang all of our hopes on that destination, we feel very defeated at the end. We wake up the next morning and we feel lack of purpose. So what if we just accepted this? What if we just knew that the day after we've run a marathon, we're going to find another marathon or maybe a triathlon? Or the day after you get your DMD, you're going to look for a place to practice, to be a dentist, to deliver your expertise and support your community. What if we just accepted that and anticipated it as just a part of a grander journey? And maybe along the way, we could appreciate every stumble, every learning opportunity for what it really is. And instead of feeling like a failure along the way, feeling like we are whole before we even started. There's this beautiful quote from Peter Haggerty that says, "Life is a journey, and if you fall in love with the journey, you will be in love forever." I would love to take that saying and just throw in happiness. Life is a journey, and if you can be happy within the journey, you'll be happy forever. What if you could find happiness all along the way? What if the happiness wasn't just contingent on the ultimate destination? What if we allowed ourselves permission to see the growth along the way and find happiness along the way? And not look at it as a failure until we get there, like we are not whole or complete until we get there. What if we allowed ourselves to feel our wholeness, our worthiness, before we even made it there? So I have a question for you today, and that is, what is there in your life that you're chasing right now, that you're delaying your happiness for? Is there something that you've put an urgency on? And, that does bring up a really good point, is this urgency that we create for ourselves. What if we just took a deep breath and allowed ourselves to be whole right now? Urgency is a great motivator. Urgency gets me to my appointments on time. Urgency gets my assignments handed in on time. Urgency gets my taxes submitted on time. There's a lot of value to urgency. But what if we gave ourselves a little bit of a break and eased off the accelerator just a little bit? Instead of rushing towards the finish line, we allowed ourselves to enjoy the moments along the way. So how do you do that? I think part of that is just awareness. Part of it is just being present in the moment and not just rushing blindly towards the finish line, but really recognizing the wholeness of every moment. And that's where this idea of really valuing the journey Recognizing that today is a part of this journey, and your journey is not going to end when you achieve that goal, when you get that certification, when you purchase that practice, when you have that family. We all know parents who have had trouble with infertility, as I did. They fought and fought and fought for the longest time to finally be a parent, and that was just the start of another journey. That was just the beginning. That was not where my journey ended. But really, every day is just a part of this beautiful process. And within that journey, the nuggets are when we can find and feel the enormity of every step of the way. Because in my infertility journey, I was finding closeness with my husband. I was learning to take care of my body. I was learning to love my body for the first time, which I hadn't up until that point. I was learning to lean into taking care of myself. I mean, looking back now, those were much bigger lessons than I ever gave myself credit for. I was whole before I even got there. And when we finally were able to conceive, it was just the start of a whole new journey. And you will never get it done. There's a certain peace in that. There's a certain relief in knowing that we will never get it done. At the end of every trip we take, there'll be the beginning to the next. And that's okay. It kind of takes that urgency off a little bit. It takes that demand off a little bit. You know, even in your everyday workday, we give ourselves this kind of illusion that something has to be completed by the end of the day, and we give ourselves this urgency because we're so used to it. We've been doing it our whole lives. It's been a part of our accomplishments this whole time, and I even see myself doing it to my children and saying, you know, get ready for school, let's go, let's go. And we're instilling it in our psyche from a very early age. But what if we just gave ourselves permission to just take a deep breath and value the moment and ask ourselves, is this really urgent? Or can I just allow myself to accept the beauty of this moment, of this step in my journey, of this growth that I've had in this day, of this opportunity in front of me for further growth? And even if I take 2 steps back, it's still a part of the journey. And that all I need to be aware of is that I have the destination and I have the intention of loving the journey along the way and not wishing it away, not rushing through it, not getting through it just to reach the destination, because the destination doesn't hold any magic. The magic is now. So what is there in your life that you're rushing towards, that you're forsaking your happiness for, putting it off, delaying it, delaying the opportunity to just breathe and take account of everything incredible that you are and you have and you are learning and you are growing right now? If it's something like love, like you're putting off your happiness for the pursuit of love, take account of all the love in your life right now. Take account of the love for yourself right now. If you're pursuing a certification or a learning of some sorts, take account of all the learning that you're having right now and love on that, because you will never get it done. And there's a huge amount of peace in that. Well, thank you again for joining me today. Thank you for being open to seeing this new perspective. I think the more we can talk about this and be introducing it into our psyche, the more we can allow ourselves room to really find happiness in every day and understand that our happiness isn't contingent on one thing. We create this illusion for ourselves that if this, then I'll be happy. But what if we could really see that you're never going to get it done? So choosing happiness today is the goal. Choosing happiness in this moment and realizing that you are whole and complete and so worthy of happiness right now. Not once you finally get there, not once you finally create that achievement, but right now, you are whole and you are worthy of happiness. If you know a friend who needs to hear this message, please share this episode with them. And if this has made a difference to you, if this has turned on a light bulb for you in this moment, please leave me a review and let me know, because this is the message that I think needs to be shared. This is the message we need to spread to counteract all those messages that we have lived with for our whole lives. We need to find some peace and understanding of the truth so that we don't find ourselves in that situation of depression and anxiety when we've done incredible things, when we've made enormous achievements, but rather, how can we find the fulfillment along the way? You're incredible, my friend. And remember, when you feel good, that's when you can do good. Bye-bye.